Hello everybody, thanks for joining me today. This is episode 6 in an 8-part video series that I'm doing to complete a sea glass mosaic in this antique church window. Now if you've joined me for my first 5 videos in this series, you've seen what I've done in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panes of glass. And today we're going to do this pane of glass. Now even though I haven't shown you all the pieces together, it's probably starting to take shape in your mind a little bit. And by the time I finish the 8th video, I'll show you the entire window all together. So let's get started on video 6. So this pane of glass is 11.5 inches tall and 9.5 inches wide. And because it's the top half of the window, it's tapering as you go along here. So it's not quite rectangular. So my pattern for this piece is I want to have these brown stripes going here, and then green ones going here and here. So I'll do these flowing lines of sea glass, and then the background is all white. So I have some special pieces I want to put in here. I have this brown bottle bottom that's half of a rectangular shaped bottle. So that's really cool. I want to put that there just to have an interesting feature on this section of brown. And I have this amazing red piece. It's not really well finished, but it came from the beach, and it's a triangular shaped piece. And then I have these aqua pieces that are really well finished. They're just like little jelly beans or something. So I want to put a bunch of these coming out of this really cool, kind of like a vase that has all sorts of stuff coming out of it. So I picked out a bunch of those I'd like to include. I also picked out some caramel colored rocks. I often gather caramel colored rocks when I'm at the beach because I find them quite cool. And I thought, that one I think is too big. But I thought I might put a sort of line of these caramel colored rocks going up right in the middle of this. I think that one's too big too. Right in the middle of this brown section. I thought that might be just kind of an interesting feature, and then I'll have smaller browns going up beside on either side. And I also have this white half bottle bottom that's really old. It's just so pitted because it's been in the water for so long. So I'm going to put that one right there. So my strategy in doing this, I want to do all the brown and the green sections first, and then I'll fill in with white. So I think what I'll do here is I want to do these flowing lines, and I'm kind of having them interweave one another. So here where I would have the brown coming up and I've got another brown going across here, I want to make sure that this is kind of distinct from the others. So what I will probably do, I'll just use solid pieces to create this brown line. And then when I'm going along the side, maybe I'll use smaller pieces. So I'll just have to be careful when I'm arranging those so that this flowing line coming up is distinct from this flowing line going this way. And then I'll fill in with some green, because I've got a little bit of green here. And then I've got the green coming underneath the brown here and back up on this side. So I really like how these caramel colored pebbles really add an element of interest to this brown section. So I got thinking as I was working that I might use some of these white pebbles. I find that white pebbles when I'm walking along the beach really catch my eye when they're lying there wet on the sand. And they often look like peppermints or Scotch mints, you know, those round mints. And it's amazing how much they look like that. Less so once they dry, but they're still quite interesting. So I thought I'm going to add some, just to make a little flower here. I often use them for centers of flowers, especially when they're kind of round. And I thought that if I put that in the white section, it's not necessarily going to stand out as different from the white. But then when they're holding up, when you hold them up to the light, I'm going to put some in here too. So what's interesting is that they block the light, whereas sea glass doesn't tend to block the light. So if you've got light shining behind them, you'll often have the light blocked and they'll look dark. But to me that's just really interesting. So I'm going to put some of those there. These ones are more elongated than round. And I think they'll add some interest to this white piece right here as well. So now I'm just going to fill in the rest of this background white because I have my interesting details with my pebbles and with this red piece here, and I'll arrange these aqua colored pieces in here. So I recently found out from one of my viewers that these rocks with holes in them are called hagstones. And if you find a rock with a hole in it and you pick it up, it's supposed to be a sign of good luck. And if you hang on to this rock, it can even ward off evil spirits. And I thought, how cool is that? So I was thinking I wanted to put one of these stones on this piece of brown sea glass here. But I don't want to put too big of a one because this piece of sea glass is really cool. I don't want to cover it up too much. So I think I'll use that one. So that's kind of cool. I always pick up stones that have holes in them because I think they're so cool. But I never knew that they were so meaningful as well. So I think I'll use that one there. I just want to put a little bit of a piece of sea glass right there on the base of the windowsill. And then I'm going to put the hagstone, not just a piece of rock with a hole in it, right on top. And I think that will complete this pane of glass. I want this to kind of stand out. I'm just going to show you a little trick here. I want this to stand out so that it's not leaning right against the glass. But in order for it, because silicone takes a while to set, it's going to have to sit there for a little bit before it sets. So sometimes when I want something like that, I'll take a piece of sea glass and put it underneath just to hold it in place until the silicone sets. And then after the silicone sets, I'll just pull that little sea glass out and that rock will be standing right on top of the other piece of sea glass. Just a little trick of the trade. And you might need a little extra silicone. That's why it looks a bit messy now. But once it dries, it'll be fine. It will look just fine. And it'll be sitting there and you'll be able to see right through the hole. So, thanks very much for joining me for this video. I hope you're finding this series really interesting. That finishes 6 of my 8 panes of glass. So be sure to join me next time when I move on to the very top of my window. So until next time, happy sea glass hunting.